This is Burt Becker and Mac David, the Five Blobs, doing the theme from The Blob, which was a 1950s horror film that came out during the summer in the 1950s. It was considered scary, I guess, to see a big gelatinous bulbous thing just trolling along the ground, eating people up. But it was kind of being at some sort of, what do you call it? It's a bar in the Caribbean or something like that. So I thought it was kind of interesting like that. Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows. This is episode 372, Dilly Elegy. The reason why I'm talking about that is because of a trailer that came out this week. I will let you know all about that. So we got some trailers coming up. Great, having connection troubles already, and we're just starting. Hopefully it won't last too long, but that's my Halloween one. Anyway, so yeah, 2 weeks to Halloween, 13 days to brand new Baby Yoda content as the Mandalorian Season 2 rolls out. We're going to talk about Baltimore Con. We're going to talk about Halloween stuff. We're going to talk about some Christmas stuff. We're talking about Tab. Tab hasn't been seen in years. We're going to talk about Pokemon Go. Has a whole bunch of stuff going on. We have DC changing their past or changing their future again. We're going to do a lot of local news. A guy stopping to dance in the middle of the highway. Longest tenured Raven. Our governor did something really stupid. We'll talk about some deaths that came up. Another former baseball player died. Okay, I know what that is. Mercury is doing something that usually messes people's heads up. Talking about some Halloween stuff. Cougars, not the cougars you're thinking about, but some kind of cougar. The Large Hadron Collider is doing something that I never thought they would do, particularly in 2020. We'll talk about that as well. Some new trailers. Amazon did something interesting. Something that I didn't know about the Muppets. New coffee creamers. Candy canes. Some prehistoric nonsense going on. Sweetest Day, sweet. And some other stuff as well, because today is actually Sweetest Day. We'll start with that day. October 17th is Sweetest Day. It is a holiday. It's been around since like the 1930s, but it's not one that's really been explored too much. It's mostly in Canada and the state of Michigan are the ones that really do it. Back about, I guess, 2010, I suppose. 2010. Yeah, it was 2010, about 10 years ago. When we were at the old building at my job, we used to make funny videos and post them, and we usually did things around holidays. And I discovered Sweetest Day that year, and I was like, okay, let's do something interesting like that. It's kind of a Valentine's Day, but in the fall. So we did a video of it. It's about 30 seconds long. Maybe it's longer, a little bit longer than that because it's one of our longer ones. But I posted today on my Facebook page, so check it out if you haven't seen it yet. But it's basically, it's like a Valentine's Day almost. It's just that it's candy. It's to support doing something good for somebody. And there is a movement to try to turn it into the male Valentine's Day because, let's be honest, Valentine's Day is mostly a holiday for women. Men are the ones that get, all the candy and flowers and stuff like that, and the Valentines for their lovers. And, they do the same thing to us somewhat, but it's mostly, the television ads, radio ads, all gold necklace jewelry for Valentine's Day, or she's not going to love you anymore. So it's just like, damn, okay, jewelry places, you guys are messed up. So we seem to be having more issues with the connection, so I'm going to try to just roll through this. And it's a little bit longer than last week's, but let's see if I can roll through this quickly. Not all, everyone knows how stupid Trump supporters are. But I will be fair, and to be fair and balanced, unlike the Republican Party, I'll be a little fair and balanced. There was a woman who crashed her car while fleeing a car, and you caused an accident. That's not cool. So I'm not very happy about that. We'll keep moving about that. Trailer up this week is the Empty Man trailer. It's for Halloween. It's a urban legend horror movie based on a Cullen Bunn comic book. Basically, it's just about like an urban legend, sort of a, you say this person's name in the mirror 3 times. Or actually, this time it's on a bridge at night, and it first day you hear something and then you see it and then you die, that type of thing. So they made a movie about it, and the trailer came out. It just seems like your regular generic horror film, but the fact that it was based on a Cullen Bunn comic book, and Cullen Bunn's usually a pretty strong writer. He's actually written a really interesting comic series called Dark Ark, which is, we all know what happens with Noah's Ark, but what if the devil sent a group of people to build an ark knowing full well what was going to happen to the earth that was filled with evil items, evil creatures. That asshole in the White House who tweets way too much retweeted a fake news site and claimed that it was real news. So everyone's making fun of him because it's obvious that it's a fake news site. If you go to their Twitter handle, it says it right there in their heading, "This is fake news," This is a parody account. So idiots abound. Michael B. Jordan, who played Killmonger in the Black Panther movie, has always been known to be an obsessive anime comic book type of guy, which is really cool and is awesome. Well, he's finally getting his wish to produce Static Shock, which is a African-American black superhero that's fairly famous from the Milestone line of comics that came out back in the 90s. And Static Shock has always been the most popular one of them. He's had his own cartoon and a bunch of other stuff. Well, now Michael B. Jordan is going to produce a Static Shock movie. I don't know if he plans on starring in it or being in it in some capacity. I think he's too old to play Static Shock. I think Static Shock is more like a teenager sort of type of thing. So maybe Michael B. Jordan will be his mentor, or just a regular guy, or maybe the bad guy. I don't know. So, but he is producing it. Maybe he's not going to be in it at all. In a world where there is no COVID, next weekend, the 24th and 25th and 26th of October, would actually be Baltimore Comic-Con. Baltimore Comic-Con has been around since 1999, I believe, and it is one of the more popular comic conventions, believe it or not. The guy who runs it is my comic book store guy, and his store is right over there. So not that far from here. He knows me personally. I've met him when I worked at Diamond, and I'm a regular up there. So he's always very chatty and talkative, and it's really cool. And he's the one who created Baltimore Comic-Con. And I'm always remember I went to a Comic-Con a few years ago with my wife and kids, and it was on the Saturday. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. It was on a Saturday, and we had to go up and get the tickets. And he was sitting there talking to a bunch of important people, could be anybody, about stuff. He paused the conversation to come over and say hi to me and say glad to see me and stuff like that. It was really cool of him to do that. So it's also where I got the shirt from, the Halloween shirt for a comic store. So that was pretty cool. But in a regular world where there'd be no COVID-19, next weekend, or next weekend, 24th, 25th, 26th, would be the actual Baltimore Comic Convention at the convention center. It's the last big convention of the year for the most part, the final convention. It's also one that gets the most, one of the ones that gets one of the most creators in there, because it is more comic book creator oriented than pop culture, as other conventions are. And Mark, who is the guy who runs it, treats the talent very well. So they keep coming back for more because they love it. If you ask any of the big comic guys what their top 5 favorite cons are, Baltimore Comic-Con is always in their top 5. Not maybe number 1, but it's in the top 5 every time. So it's really great. And it's a good show. It's fun. It's entertaining, and it's good, but it's not going to happen this year, obviously, because all the other conventions have been getting shut down also, but they're also doing what the other conventions did. The other conventions, they did online virtual ones. They're going to be doing online virtual ones. So next weekend, check out the Baltimore Comic-Con, and you'll be able to see creators discussing their new books, virtual sales, stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to see that. Pokemon Go is going absolutely ballistic this month. We've had multiple events already, and we are in the middle of one of the biggest multiple event stuff, or upcoming multiple events. The biggest one is going to be the Halloween event, which is going to start next weekend, I believe. There is an all-day ghost event on the 25th, but I think the Halloween week is literally is more like it's like a 10-day event. It's the first event that Pokemon Go ever did when they came out back in 2017. It was the first big event they ever did. It's everyone's favorite one. And what's great about it is if you play the Pokemon games, there is a place called Lavender Town, which is kind of this really creepy kind of ghost theme to it. When night falls on Pokemon Go, that theme plays, which is brilliant. It's absolutely great. So that's fantastic. So we got that coming up. We got the ghost event coming up on the 25th. Today was Community Day with Charmander. Kind of pissed about that because Charmander had one of the first community days when they started this a couple years ago. I know why they brought it back, though, because now they have Megas, and Mega Charizard is one of the first Megas out there. So they wanted people who might not have been around a couple years ago to get some good Charmanders, so they can get some good Mega Charizards. But regardless, it was an okay community day, nothing outstanding, nothing great. So, but it was fine. So that was today. The Rocket event is also going on during this week as well. So again, more Rocket stuff, more Rocket people. You can do more. So that's coming up. The Autumn event is still ongoing for the most part. So you've got that going on. Grubhub just announced a special day, not until November, but it's going to be there. But they announced it this week that they're going to be doing a special day. And then I think there was something else that I have on one of these other back pages here. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Oh yeah, the 12K eggs, because of this Rocket event, have created a new egg, which will have new Pokemon in it, as well as other ones that you can only get them from Rocket Leaders. So that came out this week as well. So a lot of Pokemon Go stuff happening and ongoing. If you've gotten away from Pokemon Go, I recommend picking it back up within the next week or so, because the Halloween event will be starting. I'm almost betting it's going to start next weekend. It tends to go about 2 weeks. It will probably go from like maybe the 24th of October to like November 3rd, 4th, something like that. So it's an event that sticks around for a while because it is so good. You get double candies, which is always great as well. So that's going on as well. So, as you may or may not know, the Los Angeles Lakers won the NBA championship this year, which means LeBron James, who went to the Lakers a couple of years ago, has won 3 national NBA championships with 3 different teams: the Heat, the Cavaliers, and now the Lakers. It's his 4th win. And ex-football running back, Chiefs running back Larry Johnson, has an unusual conspiracy. We've got a bunch of conspiracies we're going to cover tonight on Dylan Knows. So this is the first one. This one basically says he believes that LeBron James committed a satanic blood ritual by having Kobe Bryant die earlier this year so that he could win his 4th championship. First of all, Kobe was retired. He was no longer playing basketball. He played for the Lakers at the turn of the century. I think they might have won some championships with Kobe. I'm not 100% certain. Don't quote me on that. And LeBron James and Kobe were actually friends. It's a disturbing conspiracy theory on top of many disturbing conspiracy theories that have been rolling through these last 4 years. And this one just happens to be an extra awful one. And I figured, hey, why not bring it up? Because, hey, I'm always about conspiracy theories. So a satanic blood ritual that killed Kobe Bryant earlier this year. In order to do that, that gave LeBron his chance to win a new championship. Wouldn't you think if he did that they would have won the championship? Well, no, I guess it was delayed because of COVID. Never mind. So we'll see. I don't know where I can go from there, but I'll tell you right now. This is kind of neat, actually. I don't know when this is going to be out, or if it's out already. It's possible. But the world of digital is increasing exponentially. Everything under the sun is going digital now. So why not get yourself a tabletop digital gaming board? And basically, it's a really kind of neat idea. It's a digital display on a big enough table for like 4 people, 6 people to sit around. And the digital display has in it 50 board games. So basically, say you want to play Monopoly. So you type in, you turn on the computer, the tabletop gaming thing, you hit Monopoly, and then Monopoly will show up digitally on the table. And you and your friends can play Monopoly digitally. And if you don't want to do that, you can play Sorry, Clue, whatever. All these games will be in there digitally, whatever. So it's kind of a neat idea. I think it's kind of interesting, and could be pretty interesting. I talked about that. So a lot of new seasons of TV shows have already been greenlit, even though other seasons have not happened. The Boys, which I still haven't seen yet, based on the Garth Ennis comic book. The Boys Season 3 is getting underway this week. Season 2 literally just ended like last week. So they're going to start filming Season 3 this week, and that won't be out probably till next year. Same thing with Star Trek Discovery. Their Season 3 literally just debuted this week. They've already been renewed for Season 4, and they will be starting their Season 4 filming next week. So those are the 2 big ones. I don't know what that one is. So we've also already talked about The Mandalorian. Season 2 is coming out on the 30th of October. Season 3 gets underway this week as well. So all new seasons of these shows are going to start filming this week or next week as those new seasons come out over the last couple of weeks. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Emma Roberts will be playing. Keep your eyes peeled on that. Emma Roberts will be starring and producing in a Netflix, a lesbian young adult vampire series called First Kill. And she'll be the star of it, and she'll be producing it. So could be interesting. It's lesbian vampires about killing. Why not? Vampires are pretty cool. Lesbians are really cool, and Emma Roberts is pretty cool. So it's all going to be on Netflix. So it'll be out probably sometime next year, maybe in time for Halloween next year. Who knows? So that's coming up. One of a few prehistoric stories we've got coming your way this week. Prehistoric footprints of a woman carrying a toddler while dodging a saber-toothed tiger. Stories we've got coming your way this week. Prehistoric footprints of a woman carrying a toddler while dodging a saber-toothed tiger have been discovered and unearthed. I don't know how they were able to figure out that it was a woman's footprints and she was carrying a baby, obviously, and obviously I guess you can tell by the footprints following it were saber-toothed tiger ones, and maybe the footprints were smaller and more petite, meaning it was probably a woman. Maybe they figured out because the depth that it went into, maybe she had a little extra weight. I don't know. Just that seems kind of interesting. What the hell? Oh, I know what that is. Let's just write this down. All right. Next up, we have some Halloween stuff. Aldi goes all out for their for the holidays. They release all kinds of holiday stuff at their grocery store and stuff like that. Well, this Halloween is not any different. They are releasing Halloween-shaped pasta, ghosts, pumpkins, witches, black cats, the stuff like that you expect from Halloween. And pumpkin pizzas are also going to be available from Aldi. So for the next 14 days, you can live up your Halloween and get stuff from Aldi if you like. This isn't from Aldi. I don't know. They might have this, but I don't know. I haven't seen this around anywhere. But it's from a generic company I never heard of before. But Halloween eggnog is a thing. And it is now out for the holidays. So there you go. Pillsbury cookie dough sampler box is now available at Sam's Club. Has 60 cookies and 3 different types of cookies in it. They're all about the sample stuff because they are also releasing a sample of Canada Dry Ginger Ale soda with 45 cans of 3 different types of soda, the cranberry, the regular, and the blackberry, which are all brilliant, by the way. So Sam's Club is really getting into the sampler box stuff. I guess it's kind of something you want to add to when people get those samples of their, micro brews and stuff like that. Did I miss anything before I came down here? Let me just verify. That was what the Canada Dry stuff was one of the things that I missed, but let me just see. There was any other stories about this. Exorcists claim coronavirus pandemic increases demonic possessions. That's a good one to bring up. I guess you can call that a conspiracy theory as well. I guess people are upset and feel it's the best time for demons to come in. Machu Picchu reopens for a single tourist who's been stranded in Peru for 7 months. So he was able to see Machu Picchu for himself. So Machu Picchu opens up for one tourist stuck in, I guess he was there during the pandemic and couldn't leave. And to give him a benefit for staying, they allowed him to do that. Ethan Hawke wants to guest star on Stranger Things. His daughter Maya Hawke is one of the regulars on the show, so makes sense. That would be cool if they could bring him in. Speaking of that, Stranger Things is getting back to work on their new season as well. Daredevil. Fortnite is doing their Marvel season right now with new skins of Marvel characters, stuff like that. Daredevil is now released. Just came out in the item shop tonight, so we got that going on. Rhonda Fleming, Queen of Technicolor. Rhonda Fleming, Queen of Technicolor, who appeared in Spellbound, which was a Home Improvement star Zachary Ty Bryan arrested for domestic abuse. You don't hear much about the Home Improvement people, but this isn't a good story nonetheless. Okay, boom, took that one out. Yep, there it is, the Canada Dry. Yep, the cranberry, regular ginger ale. It's 36, so 12 each of the blackberry, the cranberry, and the regular ginger ale. So that's pretty good as well. I think that's all the stories that we have that are interesting anyway, that I'm going to reveal. Yep, that's all I'm going to do. So that's it. So I got all that out of the way. So now I'm up to date. So that was good. Ritz Crackers is going to have taco crackers. They are crackers shaped like tacos, but they're smaller. So I guess you can have little hors d'oeuvre things, but have like a cracker, rich cracker flavor to it, I guess. Pillsbury croissants are stuffed with pie fillings and drizzled with icing. It's a new thing you can get now. Reese's snack cakes. I think I've talked about these for a while, but I need to keep bringing them up. Are now out about in the store, so go ahead and pick that up. And the other new food, Oreo eggs. Like chocolate eggs filled with Oreo cookies and cream stuff is going to be available for Christmas time. So there you go. Snicker cookies and cheesecake cookie dough bars are new things you might want to look up for new recipes for any baking you're going to be doing over the holiday season. So just, I guess, type those in and they should get you information that you need. McDonald's has a limited edition pumpkin and cream pie. So I guess it's sort of like a pumpkin spice sort of flavor, I guess. So they're getting into the as well. All right. Yeah, Tab soda. I didn't know was still being made, but I guess it is owned by Coca-Cola. Well, they are going to no longer create Tab by the end of the year. And honestly, I don't know what the difference was between Tab and any of the other sodas. They tasted like regular generic Coke or Pepsi, whatever. I remember Tab has an appearance in Back to the Future when he's in 1955. Barry asks for a Tab. I guess a sugar-free sort of soda, I suppose. I kind of remember when I was first dating Dawn, there was a grocery store near where she was living at the time, and I would stop there after visiting her. And they had like a ginseng Tab, which is actually one of my favorite drinks that I got 12 packs all the time. It was really, really good. And I haven't been able to find them since. I think that was Tab. Yeah, it's a shame, but there's a lot of stuff going on. Actually, that reminds me of a segue I want to get into. It's all about probably COVID stuff because people need to cut money, because of not being able to sell as much stuff because of COVID and so on like that. I was kind of disappointed today. I've been trying to decorate the house for Halloween, and I want to get this black garland that I saw at Target a couple weeks ago. I forgot to get it when I was there last time because I thought, I'll be there. I'll stop by again next week and have it. So I stopped by next week. They were out. So I said, let me check another Target. There's another Target in the area. So I went over to that in Hunt Valley today, and it wasn't there. So I was like, all right, great. This is in Hunt Valley. I said, let's go to a couple other places. I wanted to go to the Yankee candle store because I need to get some new candles. I got into the Yankee candle store, and it looks like that they are shutting down because they had for sale items for their shelving and stuff like that. They had no candles, hardly any of the big size candles. All they had were all the smaller ones. The shelving was all removed. So either they are shutting down for good or they're remaking the entire place, which is what I would prefer. But I would have to say the cynic in me, and because of COVID-19, Yankee Candle is probably losing a ton of money because they had to shut down for months, and now they're not getting the money back quick enough for them to cover things. So they're going to have to shut down and reorganize later on. But it's a shame because I love Yankee Candle. Now there's one up in Westminster, which is about a 20-30 minute drive. It's about the same distance that it'd be to Hunt Valley. So, I guess I could go to that, see if, as long as they haven't shut down. There's one over in Columbia, which is a little bit longer, about a half-hour drive in the mall there. That means I have to go on the highway, and I really don't want to do that. But so, there are options, I guess. But if they shut down also, I'm going to stick with mail order. There's nothing wrong with the mail order because you get a better idea, but the thing is you don't get to smell them. So if you think one sounds good, like sour apple, I thought was going to be great. You get that apple sort of smell as well, but it's not your typical Macintoshy sort of apple. It's more of a more subtle apple smell. Well, I got that. The one it has no smell whatsoever. And it's very, very, if there is, it's a hint. I was like, I don't need that. I need a strong smelling one. So I ain't going to get that anymore. And then the other thing is I hate how they are always a month ahead of time. They had Christmas stuff up. There's a new Christmas set, Christmas morning set up for new candles. It's going to be their new Christmas stuff like that. So they had those set up, but that was it. They didn't have any of the other ones, any of the fall ones that I wanted, any of the Halloween ones. All the stuff was gone. It was gone. So I would like to think that the online store, which is probably everything is going to be online, is going to be having this stuff. So I might have to put in an order for that. But the problem with that is it takes 2 weeks to get delivered unless you pay a lot of money to expedite it. And I suppose I could do that, but it's just a pain in the ass to have to wait. I'd rather just, I feel like going to the store tomorrow, getting my Yankee candles and having it starting now. I don't want to wait 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 14 days, whatever it is, to get my candles. I want to get my candles and light them this day. So what I might do is I might take a trip up to the Westminster one tomorrow, since it is just about the same length of time it takes to go from here to Hunt Valley. Then it goes up to there. So I might go there. So I went there. I was disappointed in that. Disappointed at Target. So I said, I'm kind of hungry. I want to go to lunch. And so I figured, okay, I haven't been to Arby's in forever. And I like Arby's, despite what other people believe. I like Arby's. There's an Arby's up in Hunt Valley. It's okay, let me go there. They have a sign that says we're open. I was like, okay, great. I can go in. I can get something to eat. I can sit down, relax. and enjoy my meal. I go in, they're not allowing anybody to sit in. You can go and walk in the store and pay for it at the window, but you have to leave and eat it in your car. They don't have any ketchup available or Arby's sauce available for you anymore. They don't have napkins available for you anymore. The menu has been stricken, and I ordered my French dip, which you're supposed to get a little container of like juice, like all Jew gravy. They forgot to give that to me. I think I ordered a half pound of it. They gave me the regular one. So I was disappointed in that. I had to eat in my car, and I was disappointed in that. So I thought with Maryland, Baltimore County, particularly being in phase 3, which means they're allowing more people, I think about 70% capacity, 75% capacity in restaurants now. I thought that fast food places would follow up. There's a Chick-fil-A down the road from here. Let me see, where am I? It would be, let's see, no, it's not that way. It's somewhere down that way. That they would be open, but they're not. They're only allowing people to do drive-through. So the drive-through snakes all the way around. It's like it would take forever. There's like 50 cars waiting to get in, and there's 2 drive-through spots. So it's messed up. So maybe I was insulated, and maybe I was naive, thinking that maybe regular stuff would be open, but I guess not in the fact that Yankee Candle's not going to be at Hunt Valley anymore. And I guess the fact is, with stores not really knowing when and if people are going to come out to the stores. I mean, there were a lot of people out today. There was a lot of people out today. It was community day. There were people. It was a nice day. It was a nice fall day. People were at all the restaurants that were down, but there were still restaurants were closed at the Hunt Valley shopping area. There's lots of stores that shut down. I think DSW, the shoe shop, has finally closed down there. Greetings and Rings has been shut down for a year. They were like a big part of that, and now it's empty up there. They, a lot of other places have been shut, and now it looks like my Yankee Candle is shutting down, which really pisses me off, because I like going to Hunt Valley. I like the Hunt Valley Town Center. I think it's really cool, and it's really nice, and it's a nice little drive, and it's a nice walk around. And the Westminster one is in the mall. It's like, okay, but driving up to Westminster is a dull, boring drive. Sorry, Westminster, is what it is. And it's in the mall too, so. Oh, well, I don't know. So we'll see. Maybe I'll go up there tomorrow before the football game and see if they offer business, and that might have to be my new store. Because I really want some new candles, and I don't want to have to wait 2 weeks. Now, I wouldn't mind if I got some regular candles at the Yankee Candle shops. I can have them now, but the ones that I really, really want, I'll have to order them, and they'll be here in a couple weeks. I would have these candles cover for me before that happens, but that's besides the point. Anyway, speaking of Baltimore, let's get a little local news in here. Our governor, who is Republican, I've had my issues with him before, particularly with forcing schools now to open after Labor Day because of the mayor of Ocean City wanted another week's of vacation so that they can make more money and not thinking about other stuff for the kids like that. And then they were complaining about the weather. Well, it's too hot at the end of August. Well, in actuality, the last 2 years when school has started after Labor Day, the weeks before when school would have been starting were cooler than the ones after Labor Day when school actually started. So that makes no sense either. And then COVID-19 hits, and he breaks from that asshole in the White House and does his own thing, and seems to be doing a good job, is able to shut down Maryland, gets our COVID deaths and our COVID thing down to manageable levels. We're now at the beginnings of stage 3 of recovery, but he hasn't really come on and done any press conferences talking about how we've been beating COVID, because I think the COVID numbers, while they're low, I think they're in the 2 to 3% range. They're still not falling. I think they're staying steady, which means that they're not going down. Because if they were going down, he'd be all over the place saying, yeah, look at what we did. And so that was, and then when that asshole was refusing to give stuff to people that they needed to fight COVID, he went to South Korea because his wife is South Korean and was able to get a whole bunch of tests there. and was able to test and get stuff out there long. And then we were able to set up our own tests and stuff like that. So that worked out well for us. But then he turned around and said he would back if the president wanted to drop armed force, the military in the middle of Baltimore if there was a riot. Not the National Guard, the military, which I disagreed with him on. Then he said we should open schools, which I disagree with him on. Luckily, the rules of Maryland are it's up to the executives of all the counties to decide where they go. Some counties are still in phase 2 because they don't feel that enough data has been provided for them to prove that they should open up to phase 3, or their numbers are not going down. So he's starting to get back on my bad side. Well, he did 2 things this week. One really dumb, and one, we'll see what happens. I'm not sure I'm excited about it. He is allowing sporting events to happen. Now, fans go to sporting events now. The Ravens have had 2 home games already. 2 or 3. 3 home games, I think. They've had 3 home games, 2 away games. At the 3 home games, there was no fans. They piped in crowd noise, and they had a cardboard cutout sitting in the stands. He has announced that he will be opening up open-air stadiums. I think he said 70% of people, I guess, are going to be able, maybe not 70, I don't know. Not a lot of people, but anyway, 7,000 people will be able to, there's like 50, 60, or it's like 70, it's got to be 10% maybe, because there's like 70,000 people that can fit in the Ravens Stadium, and they're saying 7,000 can go to the next home game, which is actually on November 1st against the Steelers. That's the one that got moved because of the Steelers involved with COVID. We were supposed to have our game against the Steelers next weekend, and then our bye week was going to be November 1st. But because of the Steelers thing, our bye week has now been pushed to next week, and our game with Steelers has been moved to November 1st, and that's a home game. So they're going to allow 7,000 fans to come to that. So he's allowing that. University of Maryland, our football, the college football team that everybody roots for here in Maryland, along with Navy. Navy's allowed people in the stands because it's Naval Academy, so they've been playing football since the season started back in September. Big Ten has said that they weren't going to start the season, unlike the SEC and some of the other ones as well. There were a lot of other football divisions that said they weren't going to play games either this year, or then once the numbers started going down, they decided to open up a bit more, and I guess saw their money going down the tube. So the Big Ten, which is what the University of Maryland is a part of, their football, basketball, stuff like that, will be starting their truncated season next weekend as well. So they're playing 8 games, I think, 8 or 10 games. I think it's 8 games, because there's only, it's like, the end of October, then it's like 4 weeks in November and 4 weeks in December. So maybe 3 weeks in December. So it's like 1 week in October, it'll be 2 weeks in October, 4 weeks in November, which is 6, and then like 2 in December, 8, and then you lead up to bowl games and playoffs, and they're going to have a playoff week, and then you're going to have bowl games at the end of December, where everybody's going to have bowl games when they start the end of December and January, with national championship in January. So they're sticking with that schedule. So that's pretty much how you get 2 weeks in October, 2 weeks in December, 4 weeks. So it's going to be eight games. They start next week, so they're going to probably allow, when Maryland is at University of Maryland, they'll probably allow the stadium to open up, and students can go to the games there too. So doing that. But the dumb thing is, Governor Hogan decided he was going to make a statement in his vote. He wasn't going to vote for Trump because he doesn't believe in Trump, and he's definitely not going to vote for Biden because he's a fucking stupid Republican asshat. So he decided he was going to write in the person he wanted most in the White House, which was Ronald Reagan, who is dead. So basically, Governor Hogan, governor of Maryland, wrote in a dead man's name, who was already president for his 2 terms, as his vote in this election. You may as well just lit your vote on fire, you dumbass. Why don't you at least put your fucking name on it, you dummy? Or one of your Republican buddies' names. why did you have to make a statement? One of the well, then why didn't you put your name on it? That's what I say. You're writing Governor Larry Hogan as your president. So you wasted your vote on a dead president who wouldn't be able to be president anyway, according to our Constitution, which allows two-term president. Ronald Reagan was a two-term president. He's done. He's retired. Even if he came back to life or he hadn't died or he was 120 years old, whatever he'd be now, he was still alive, he would not be able to be president of the United States because he's done his 2 terms. It was a stupid waste of a vote, lit it on fire sort of thing. So, Governor Hogan, you are a fucking asshat, and I hate you again. And unfortunately, I won't be able to vote against you again because your term is going to be up soon. And you had 2 terms as governor. So, dumbass. Other local news, speaking of the Ravens are playing the Eagles in Philadelphia tomorrow. Philadelphia will be having 7,000 fans in their stands. So I think that's going to be the trend. Pittsburgh had 7,000 fans in their stands. Cleveland, Cincinnati, they had 7,000 fans in their stands. So it seems to be the go-to number for these people who don't want to open up all out. I think Kansas City has 7,000 also. And of course, Florida, where they're stupid morons, they're opening the entire stadium up for everybody to go so everybody can get COVID because that's where the worst cases are. But I digress. But Sam Cooke, who is our punter, is now the longest tenured Raven. He has played in 230 games, the most of any Ravens player in Ravens history. Granted, Ravens history is only 24 years old. Hold on. 96, 2006, 2000, 24 years old. But he's played in 230 games. So he is now the longest tenured Raven in sports in Ravens history. So beating Terrell Suggs, who was 229 games. So good job, Sam Cooke. Congratulations. And one more bit of local news here. Video came out on Friday of a man who stopped his car in the center lane of 95, which is one of our big highways, and got out of his car and started to dance. Don't know if he has mental issues or he had a mental breakdown or his car and started to dance. Don't know if he has mental issues or he had a mental breakdown or I don't know, anything else that happened. I couldn't tell you. One last piece of local news. The Atlas Restaurant Group has bought the Admirals Cup in Fells Point. Admirals Cup is one of the oldest hotel restaurant bars in Maryland, meaning it's been around since probably the 1800s. It is a historical landmark, and it is now bought by an Atlas Restaurant Company. So hopefully they have to. It's a historical landmark, so they can't make any changes to it. So they just own the rights to it, and I don't know, maybe they'll change up the menu or some bullshit. I don't know, but there you go. Face masks are all the rage now, and people are getting creative with their face masks. My wife and daughter and son and I like it too. There's a manga or anime and a manga called Haikyuu about a team of high school volleyball team, boys high school volleyball team. My wife was able to find face masks which had the cast of it on there. So we have face masks with the Haikyuu cast on. My stepmom for my birthday bought me a bunch of Ravens face masks with Ravens designs, stuff like that on that. Well, people have gotten a little bit more creative. Voltron face masks are a thing. Voltron was one of my wife's and one of my favorite cartoons from the 80s. They're now face masks that has each of the faces of the lions that form Voltron. So you can get that as well. There is face masks now that smell like fried chicken and bacon. So when you put it on, you'll want to put it over your nose because you'll be able to smell in the sweet scent of fried chicken and bacon. And just in time for Halloween and for fans of The Walking Dead, there are now zombie face masks as well, which basically they're scary as fuck, man. They look like an actual like zombie mouth like you see on Walking Dead, and you put it over your face and it perfectly like matches you so that you look like you're a zombie. It's fucking awesome. So face masks are a work of art now, and good job on that. I'm kind of interested in this movie that was just announced this week. Joaquin Phoenix, the most recent Best Actor award winner for Joker, and Joaquin got an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor and win for playing the bad guy in that one. And he was a really good bad guy in that one. But they will be reteaming for a movie called Kit, which is about Napoleon. And I couldn't think of two better people to make a Napoleon movie. There's been a lack of Napoleon movies. Napoleon's appeared in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and in Time Bandits. And other than that, there really hasn't been any that I know of off the top of my head. I mean, there might be some over in France and foreign films, stuff like that. But I can't think of any American movies off the top of my head. I could be wrong, obviously. And Napoleon Dynamite doesn't count. Sorry. About Napoleon. And I think it'd be really, really cool to see that movie when it gets made. And Joaquin will probably get nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor again. And who knows, maybe Ridley will get a whole bunch of things for Best Director, Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, or Best Screenplay, whatever. So it'll be good to see a Napoleon film. I think, what's his name? Guy I hate. My mind's a blank. Yeah, Stanley Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick had been trying for years to try to get a Napoleon movie off the ground, and he never did after he passed away back in 1999. So this could be really interesting, and I think it's going to be it should be really, really cool, and I'm looking forward to that down the line when it finally comes out. So on the flip side, from what is possibly going to be a great movie to what we know is one of our signature bad movies, we have Arachnonado. Yes, Sharknado has paved the way. So now we have a new B movie called Arachnonado about, guess what? Tornadoes full of giant spiders. I should show the trailer to my wife. She will absolutely love that. So there is an actual film called Arachnonado about tornadoes that have giant spiders in it that land on you and kill you and stuff like that. So fun. A couple weeks ago, it was announced that Tatiana Maslany from I can't remember the name of that movie now. That show she was on was cast as She-Hulk in the Disney Plus TV series. The name. Well, now it looks like that she might be saying, "Whoa, wait a second! I haven't signed up for that yet," which is kind of weird. And maybe it's Maslany, Tatiana Maslany. Yeah, this Tatiana Maslany refutes She-Hulk casting for Disney Plus. Has denied early report that she's been cast as Marvel She-Hulk, which she says she's unfortunately not currently tied to the series, which is absolutely devastating because she would have been perfect. So back to the drawing board, I guess, or maybe they'll be able to convince her to take over. So we'll see how that turns out. Speaking of that, WandaVision has released their original set of Funko Pops, including some black and white versions of the characters, which is a good idea. V, the classic limited series from the 1980s, has also released Funko Pops, and Clue, not the movie, but the game, has released Funko Pops this week as well. So Funko Pops are still being made and created during this time. What else there's also another one that has been, I know new Nightmare Before Christmas ones have just come out also. There's also another one that has been, I know new Nightmare Before Christmas ones have just come out also. Oh yeah, and then Starship Troopers has also been getting the pop treatment as well. So a whole bunch of new Funko Pops are going to be rolling their way through very soon. It's a shame that Barnes & Noble is no longer really doing Funko Pops. Now we need like a gaming shop or whatever that has them, and we need actually like a Funko Pop shop to go and get them, or I guess online, because that seems to be what everyone's doing now, which pisses me off to no end. Anyway. Also, speaking of bad movies, Mystery Science Theater 3000 has always done an annual Thanksgiving Turkey Day marathon of their episodes that they've done over their many careers. They are presently not on any network right now, but they continue to do their Turkey Day marathons, and they announced that they'll be doing one this year. And you get to vote for which movies they can do. They have a set of about, I guess, 50 movies, both of the Mike and Joel era, and they are actually having them fight against each other, and you vote on, of the two, like a Joel and a Mike one, you vote which one you'd like to see as part of your the marathon, and then they will whoever gets the most votes will get a slot in the Turkey Day marathon. They will make sure that there will be an equal number of Joel and Mike. So even if you think I'm just going to vote Joel for everything because I like Joel better than Mike, yeah, probably not going to happen. So they're going to try to split it out and make it as even as possible. But they are doing another Turkey Day marathon, which is great. For our anniversary, which is October 4th, 13 days ago, I bought my wife the Blu-ray of My Hero Academia Season 4, Part 1. My wife and daughter have been obsessed with Haikyuu, and before Haikyuu, My Hero Academia was their favorite one. We'd burned through the first 3 seasons, and then we hadn't had access to the 4th season when it originally came out, so we had to wait for the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray came out a couple weeks ago, so I bought it and got it, and so we've already blown through Season 4, Part 1. It's been phenomenal. It's my favorite season so far of My Hero Academia, and it was easy to get back into it even after not watching it for months at a time. It was easy to get back into it. It was a whole family event, so that was kind of good. But unfortunately, it's only the first half. The second half will not be out until maybe early next year. The movie is the next one that comes out next weekend, so on Blu-ray, so I'll have to pick that up and watch that. There's also going to be a My Hero Academia spin-off coming that's going to feature Mirko and Fat Gum, which is a character that was introduced in this 4th season. So good on that. So we'll see. And if you haven't checked out Haikyuu, it's on Netflix right now, the first 2 seasons. I highly recommend checking out Haikyuu. My Hero Academia is also always good. Check that out as well. But Haikyuu is a great one. If you haven't checked out Haikyuu, it's on Netflix right now, the first 2 seasons. I highly recommend checking out Haikyuu. My Hero Academia is also always good. Check that out as well. But Haikyuu is a great one. 3rd season is only available on Blu-ray right now. And the 4th season, half of it has come out now. The other half is now presently being shown on various streaming sites. Oh, Friendsgiving ice cream from Perry's Ice Cream is now a thing. It is almond ice cream with blackberry swirls and sugar cookie dough all mixed together. I don't know how I feel about that. It sounds intriguing, and Friendsgiving is one of these, okay, I can get maybe you don't want to go to family's house for Thanksgiving. Maybe your family is deceased. Maybe your family's on the other side of the country. Maybe you don't get along with your family. So you want to have a Thanksgiving, so you hang out with your friends. In some cases, Friendsgiving is usually a few weeks before the actual Thanksgiving event, or maybe you want to just have a Thanksgiving with your friends before your Thanksgiving with your family, and that's where Friendsgiving comes from. But this is an ice cream that I don't even know where you can get Perry's ice cream. It sounds intriguing, I guess, though I'm not sure about the almond ice cream because I'm not a big almond fan. But blackberry swirls and sugar cookie dough chunks sounds enticing. So we shall see. So Amazon is making bank right now because people don't want to go out to stores, obviously, because Canada's going to shut down. So and look, I'm not a hypocrite. I understand that they're making all this money and people are pissed at them and stuff like that. And Bezos doesn't pay taxes, which he should. That being said, though, Amazon is the place where I can find stuff I normally can't find because there's no stores around here that have a lot of the stuff that I have. There are certain movies, Blu-rays, and DVDs that I want to get. You go to Best Buy, their Blu-ray section has been reduced exponentially. You go to Target, they only have like recent stuff out, so that's been reduced. And so you have no place to go to get movies that you haven't seen. Like The Ghost in the Darkness is a movie that I've been dying to see. I've never seen it, and I want to get a Blu-ray copy of it. They did not have a Blu-ray copy of it. It's a movie that came out in the 1990s, something like that. It's not going to be in any of these places. So I found it. They have a DVD, but not a Blu-ray. So I bought the DVD because I haven't seen it. So I'm going to watch that too soon. Just all these movies that I want to get. There's no place to get them anymore. There's no Suncoast Pictures. There's no place that stocks every single movie in format because that's, I guess, a bad sales model. But Amazon does. So, I want something. I'm going to go to Amazon, see if they have it first. If they have books, I could go to Barnes & Noble, and I do, and I buy books there. But there are also books that I'd never heard of before that they don't carry that you can only find on the Amazon too. I was like, okay, these sound good too. I'd like to check them out. Or ones you might not even thought you'd be interested in. But that being said, though, Amazon delivery people have been working overtime during this pandemic. So they've been working really hard. But here's a little funny story. So it must have been a farm of some kind. There was a group of hens that surrounded the Amazon guy as he tried to deliver the package. They're not going to hurt him. It freaked him out a little bit, but he was able to get away. But still, it was kind of funny that the hens would do something like that. They, I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago. They found a new snakehead fish called the snakehead golem fish. And it was discovered recently in Cariola or something like that. I don't know where that is. But they've been doing as being alive, like the coelacanth was, and they've been doing some examinations. They believe that the snakehead golem could have been around at the time of the dinosaurs as well. So that's kind of an interesting little thing as well. Speaking of water animals, expecting to do this, actually stumbled upon a two-headed shark while he was scuba diving. So kind of freaked him out a little bit, as it should. They're out there, people, so just watch out. Dexter was one of the TV series that came out, with The Sopranos and 6 Feet Under and Breaking Bad and Mad Men and Oz and The Wire that showed that TV can be, absolutely brilliant and can be used and justified in a good way. Showed up on Showtime. It was about a serial killer who worked in the police department who only went after other serial killers to kill them. But he still killed the serial killers and was a serial killer himself. And his half-sister was a police officer who was suspicious of him, even though he also worked for the police department. They had the first few seasons really, really good. Then they had one amazing season, and I'm still one of these days I'm going to do a show where I'm just going to talk about the greatest seasons of all time. But the season where John Lithgow and Colin Hanks played the bad guys was considered to be the high point for Dexter, and then it went downhill from there. And then Dexter ended on a final episode that left a lot of people cold. Well, cheer up, Dexter fans. Dexter will be back in a limited series on Showtime. It will not be fixing the ending that you all were hoping it would come back to do, but it will be putting it more into context, and maybe it'll make you go, "Oh, okay. I might not like it, but I like it a little bit more now than I did." So, as I said, never been a big fan of Dexter. I think I read the episode logs at work when I used to be able to get onto the internet when I was working there as a manager. But yeah, so that's out there now. Rum Chata is going to be releasing a peppermint bark liqueur, so you can have a nice Christmas cocktail coming up very soon. Hubie Halloween is, as I said last week, is the #1 movie on Netflix right now. Adam Sandler is Mr. Netflix now. A Boston news anchor who appeared in a cameo role in the movie dressed as Harley Quinn, excuse me, has been fired from her job due to her cameo in Hubie Halloween. And the reasoning was she, her contract stated you can't do that. And she didn't pay much attention or forgot about it or whatever. So I might not get, but I did break the contract, so they had every right to fire me, so they did. So we'll see what happens with that. Speaking of Christmas, 6-foot majestic unicorn will light up your Christmas decor. It is not an inflatable, I think, but it's a neat little light up unicorn sort of statue. And the way they had it set up was in front of a house decorated in white twinkling lights for Christmas, and it actually blended in really, really well. It doesn't have anything to do with Christmas, but it would make, Christmas is also about the season of lights. That's why people light their houses in colored lights and in white lights as well. Because it's to fend off the darkness, hence that winter hits, the dark days are ahead, and Christmas is that one point where the light shines out. Like what I do is Christmas Eve is the only night where I leave our outdoor Christmas lights and decorations on all night long. Every day leading to Christmas Eve, I shut them down at night, or I don't turn them on if it's raining or snowing or whatever. Maybe snow, maybe not the inflatables, but that's besides the point. So it's a neat looking picture, and it's a neat looking design, but again, it doesn't have anything to do with Christmas, but it is a majestic 6-foot tall unicorn that lights up and looks pretty nice. McFarlane Toys has gotten the rights to make Princess Bride toys for 2021. One of the best aspects of McFarlane Toys is the fact that their toys are incredibly lifelike. They don't have as much articulation and aren't really meant for playing with, I guess. They're more for the design purposes. You have a picture of something on a computer or a movie or whatever, McFarlane is able to do too much with. But they will be doing Princess Bride toys in 2021, which I think is a really great idea. That asshole in the White House is acknowledging UFOs and thinks that aliens are intent on coming here soon and wants to use our military might against them. I don't know what else I can say about that, so I'm not going to say anything else about that. George Lucas revealed his sequel. He had an idea for a final trilogy as well, but once he sold his Star Wars stuff to Disney, he had no right to do it, but people were still interested to see what he would do. And believe it or not, his 8th movie, which is the middle one of the series, a lot of the stuff that he had planned for that 8th movie somehow made it into The Last Jedi, the movie that actually came out because of that, which has been gotten torn apart by Star Wars fans. But the fact is, Lucas wanted Luke Skywalker to die in the middle film, just like he did in Last Jedi. He wanted Luke to be a bitter, nasty older man, which is what happened in The Last Jedi, and that's what pissed off a lot of people because they wanted to have their Luke back from the original trilogy and don't give a damn about story development and character development. So George Lucas, if you are, a Star Wars fan and you did not like The Last Jedi, well, guess what? The guy who created Star Wars, if he would have done his final trilogy, was going to do kind of the same thing that The Last Jedi did. So can't get over it. DC Comics, I like DC Comics, but they tend to change up their status quo all the time. I mean, they did Crisis, which was such a big success. It was fantastic. It was a great idea in 1986. First, no one had ever thought to do anything like that before, and they did it. They completely changed everything about their comics, and it worked. It was perfect. And then, because it was so good, they started doing yearly events, Millennium, other stuff as well. And then, then they started doing other crises, Identity Crisis and Final Crisis, and what was it? They've done, Invasion. They've done all these different crises, Infinity Crisis, stuff like that. They've been all these different crisis things, and now they're in the midst of this death metal bullshit going on right now. Well, they just revealed this. Originally, what's going to happen was, before Dan Didio got removed as the head of DC Comics, they were planning, and then they did the New 52, and then the reboot where they brought everybody back, stuff like that. That was only a few years ago. So they were planning, Dan Didio was planning another reboot of the DC continuity where they would have all of the big heroes, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, have gone back to when they first came out in the 1930s. So they'd be too old to be superheroes in this one, and they would be entering the comic coming out in the next year. In 2020, it would have been 2020 and 2021 was going to be new, younger versions of the characters, Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and all these stuff like that, with the older ones there and mentor roles, which is a good idea, I guess, ideally, but in the end, they keep changing everything up all the time, and it sort of doesn't make sense. Now they have Black Label stuff, which now doesn't have anything to do. It's like almost like an Elseworld stories, but you're supposed to treat it like continuity. It's hard to say. It's all messed up anyway. But they've decided that they were going to do that, and then COVID hit, and Didio got removed, and they said we're not going to do that. But they had all this material and all these ideas planned out already, and people have been saying, well, we kind of want to see what you were planning on doing. Anyway, so they are deciding that in January and February of 2021, they will be releasing most of this stuff out now in anthologies and miniseries. So if they're calling it Future State, and you'll get to see an idea of what DC Comics could have been before COVID, and then it's just going to be these 2 months, and they're going to go back to they've been doing with the current continuity they're doing now. So I'll probably check it out because they're doing it differently. There's going to be no regular comics out those 2 months. There's going to be anthologies, which are going to have multiple stories with multiple creators on it, which I think is a really good idea. You need to kind of bring that back. And then, as I said, limited series like John Ridley's Batman, which is a Black Batman coming out, which has been teased for a couple of years now. So you're going to have those miniseries as well. So we'll see what happens. I'm intrigued by it, but I also know that it's probably going to be $10 for the anthologies because it's going to be like 80 pages, and that's just, they like to milk you for all the money you got. But on the flip side, you're not buying monthly comics, so it's going to wash anyway. We're finally getting to the deaths, which we're about an hour and 10 minutes in, which is the latest we've had, and really when we've done the deaths, because there really wasn't a lot of deaths this week, which is good. Fred Dean, a Chargers and 49ers football player, died at the age of 68 this week. Conchata Ferrell, actress who was most famous for 2.5 Men. She was also in one of my favorite shows, the early version of ER, which was a half-hour dramedy, was in that as well. So she had passed away this week at the age of 77. Joe Morgan, Red second baseman, Hall of Famer, and John Miller. And Then after he retired and got into the Hall of Fame, he was a commentator on Sunday Night Baseball with John Miller, who used to be the Orioles play-by-play guy, but he moved out to San Francisco, and he's one of the best play-by-play guys. And he and Joe Morgan ruled ESPN Sunday Night Baseball for years and were fantastic. He passed away this week, so lots of baseball stars and Hall of Famers passing away this year. Roberta McCain, mother of John McCain, died at the age of 108. That is absolutely insane that someone could live to be 108, but she did, and she passed away this week. Finally, Tom Kennedy, I guess, host of Name That Tune and You Don't Say, dies at the age of 93. We got about 2 full pages of stuff to do, so we're probably going to be about a half hour, so let's roll through this. M&M's Coffee Creamer is coming. They already have Snickers. They have Cinnamon Toast Crunch ones, so why not do an M&M's one? I guess the flavor is going to be a chocolatey candy, sort of hard candy flavor. Something to be able to do a hard candy flavor, sort of flavor to the coffee creamer. Disney Plus is reorganizing, or rather Disney's going to be reorganizing their industry, and they're going to be focusing more on releasing more films through their streaming service of Disney Plus and not so many in movie theaters. So they are still going to be doing movie theaters, so we'll be seeing how that is going to go about. Hey, Christmas is coming. If you want candy canes but can't stand the peppermint flavor of it, why don't you get Dr. Pepper, A&W root beer flavor, or Orange Crush flavored candy canes for your Christmas tree? They're all going to be available, as are gingerbread Oreos, which I think came out last year, but Oreos always do something different, so they're going to be doing gingerbread for the holiday as well. A woman died of COVID-19 at the age of 89 after contracting it for the second time. So she had gotten it, didn't die, recovered, got it again, then passed away. So that was kind of a tough one as well. Oh, a mammoth elephant seal has been found humping around in a Chilean coast city. He looks scared and whatever. He's been filmed at night, this giant massive elephant seal working his way through this small town. This is engineer creates something. Engineer creates the first real retractable Star Wars plasma lightsaber. That's what that was. Trying to make a lightsaber for years, an engineer has finally found a way to make a lightsaber that retracts. So that's pretty cool, I guess. A 5-year-old boy identifies a 130 million year old dinosaur footprints. He's a science geek, and a lot of people didn't know what it was. He took a look at them and discovered, hey, these are these types of footprints, and it turned out that he was right. A gecko trapped in amber is 54 million years old, and it looks like it's still alive. So amber is one of those suckers that, can, if you get stuck in it, you are frozen forever. You don't decay, whatever. There's an actual gecko is inside this amber, and it's really cool looking. Nightmare Before Christmas roses that come in a coffin box are now available for your friends and loved ones who like the Nightmare Before Christmas. You can get a coffin box of roses for them. Killer whales are orchestrating revenge attacks on boats off of the coast of Spain. I've been watching some Blue Planet. Killer whales are dicks. One of the things that they showed on Blue Planet was killer whales actually torturing and playing with a seal that they were going to eat, but they would take it and fling it through the air and let it fly through the air and hit the water, and then the other whale would attack it, spin it around, and release it, stuff like that, while it was still alive before he ate it. So killer whales are dicks, and now they're attacking ships off of the coast of Spain. Now, color me surprised, because I read a book about Saturday Night Live. It's a great oral history of Saturday Night Live, fantastic, really interesting stuff, good behind-the-scenes information. And then I stumbled upon this story on Facebook. there was Jim Henson had a segment every week in the early days of Saturday Night Live with Belushi and Aykroyd and Bill Murray and all those guys, called Land of Gorch. And I'd never heard of that before. And I'd never seen anything about it before. But apparently it was a sketch that was on early SNL by Jim Henson before he really got going with Muppets that he created. These are completely new Muppets he created on a comedy show that plays at night, so they could do a little bit more grown-up stuff. But the thing is, Henson could not write the stories that he was doing it. That fell to the cast members. So Belushi and Aykroyd and Gil Radner and Garrett Morris and all these guys, they had to write the sketches for this Land of Gorch. And Belushi has gone on record saying that he absolutely despised doing that and having to do that. So I honestly did not know about that. So you learn something new every day. 3 teens reel in a 10-foot-long bluefin tuna, which weighs more than 1,000 pounds. I've never seen a fish that huge. Yet these 3 teens, they got it in and they caught it and they did a great job. So we've been talking about Eddie Murphy's been making a sequel to Coming to America called Coming to America 2. Been making it since, I think, last year. And it was supposed to be released, I think, hearing much about it, haven't seen a trailer for it or anything. So I didn't know if it was still in business. Well, Coming to America roared back to life this week as it was discovered that Amazon paid, I think, close to $125 million to the production company to air it on Amazon instead of it going to theaters. So it's going to bypass movie theaters and it's going to air directly on Amazon in December. So we have Coming to America 2 will be airing this December on Amazon and not on Netflix and not in the movie theaters. So I have to check this out and see if it's just as good. So we'll find out about that as well. New Orleans was scheduled to host the Super Bowl in February of 2024. When this week, planners or whatever discovered Mardi Gras is going to happen the same weekend as the Super Bowl, and we cannot have that because New Orleans could not control the amount of people there, the insanity that's going to reign. It would be terrible. So they're like, oh, okay. So the NFL has shifted it to 2025. When yet on who's going to take over the place of 2024. I guess maybe whoever was going to do it in 2025. They didn't say who was going to do it. So that's coming up. Another conspiracy that came out this week was that asshole who claims to have gotten COVID and then has recovered miraculously from it. Well, one of his supporters came up with a theory that he was infected by a weaponized drone that spread COVID in the Rose Garden. That it wasn't a super spreader thing, that it was a conspiracy to destroy and try to kill him. Conspiracies are dumb as fuck. Kraft decides that they're going to remove their brand new ad campaign before it even started. This one was going to be called Send Nudes, but obviously the connotation for it is not good for a family company, so Kraft has said bye-bye to that. Barron Trump, the son of that asshole in the White House, has contracted COVID-19, probably from the same weaponized drone that these idiots are saying. But we wish him well. We don't hold any ill will towards you. It's just your father. I Know What You Did Last Summer, starring my girls Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar, and also Freddie Prinze Jr. and Ryan Phillippe, is getting a TV series on Amazon as well. It has been greenlit, so I guess they're going to just expand the story a little bit, I suppose. So we'll see how that goes. Dunkin' announced this week a limited edition, spicy, absolutely horrendous, stupid idea, But what do I know? But they now at Duncan, which I think is the dumbest idea, but that's whatever. Because it's 2020, a Zamboni, which is a machine that, games and figure skating, stuff like that, caught fire on an ice rink. Because of course it did. 2020, man. Head coach Nick Saban contracted COVID and have it, so now I can play. I can coach. Contracted COVID-19, but he doesn't have it anymore. Whatever. And I forgot to read. There is another coach that has contracted it. Where are you? It's one of the ones I forgot to read during all this. Florida Gators head coach Dan Mullen has tested positive for COVID-19. He's University of Florida's coach. There have been a number of NFL teams that have had COVID-19 coach. There have been a number of NFL teams that have had COVID-19 positives, and some have turned out to be false positives. A Raven player has been put on the COVID-19 list because he either has symptoms of COVID-19 or has been around somebody who has had it. So, but the Ravens are still going to be playing their game tomorrow. So that's interesting. So when you think Halloween, Nightmare Before Christmas, many others like that. Well, a lot of other people would think of Hocus Pocus, the Disney film that a few years ago miraculously came back to life as a Hollywood classic or Halloween classic. And because of COVID, movie theaters are now showing re-release stuff like that. Hocus Pocus released in time for the holidays. It has now made the most money of any re-release this year. Hocus Pocus made $3 million in their re-release window over the last few weeks. The previous owner of the record was The Empire Strikes Back, which did $2.4 million in the same time period, 10 days. Hocus Pocus made $3 million in 10 days. So it is now, of all the re-released movies that have come. We're going to get some trailers now. Nicolas Cage continues to do whatever is offered to him. Bizarre films, whatever. But this one looks kind of interesting. It's Predator, called Jiu-Jitsu. And it looks like a martial arts Predator film. It's a science fiction fight a chosen person. And it's a chosen person or a film about a portal that opens up and the space alien will kill everybody in the town. So they find the chosen person, and he doesn't want to do it, but they convince him he has to do it. It's Nicolas Cage is not the chosen person; it's someone else, but it stars Nicolas Cage, Frank Grillo, and stuff like that. Hillbilly Elegy, hence the name Dilly Elegy, which is the name of this episode. Hillbilly Elegy, I've been seeing as potential Academy Award nomination for Best Direct Week. Hillbilly Elegy is directed by Ron. Stars Amy Adams and Glenn Close. And I watched the trailer, and Glenn Close looks like she, just from the trailer, she goes to bring to light the lives of hillbillies out in the West. So we'll see how well that goes. And the movie takes place in 1974, and basically it's about a movie producer played by Robert De Niro who needs money, Freeman, and gives him 3 days to get the money or else he's going to die. And Morgan Freeman's going to kill him. So since he's a producer, he goes to his young protege played by Zach Braff. They had to figure out a way to make the money in 3 days. So since he's a producer, he goes to his young protege played by Zach Braff. They had to figure out a way to make the money in 3 days. So they go to a Hollywood set and a famous person and accidentally cause his death. He falls off a building. They accidentally knock him off a building. He falls off a building and he dies. However, the actor was insured for $5 million, and the production company gets the $5 million because the actor died. This is what I want to do. He wants to produce a movie, find a star, get a huge insurance policy out on this guy, and then kill him on